I maxed out my Materia before Junon. Now, you may be wondering, why? Well, there is a reason, though it doesn't lead to some grand scenario or major game alterations. Quite the opposite, actually. The result is meant to be something extremely insignificant, but yet, I'm intrigued enough to try it out. Some context first. On my channel, I've been running a series revolving around both Final Fantasy VII and its remake released last year, the Final Fantasy VII Comparison Series. I've got 5 episodes out so far, but in this project, I've decided to practically study both game versions to present nearly every similarity or difference, both minor and major. Also to show the results of most every in-game decision, but most of all, just to have fun with one or two of my favorite games. But with this project comes some very tedious adventures, such as getting Fat Chocobo to land on a non-fat Chocobo, which took way more tries than it should have. Getting all 9 outcomes out of this chef in Wall Market, which takes a minimum of 3 playthroughs to present each materia level. Trying every single flower combination with Aerith to see which of the floral arrangements this lady decides to put up. You know how many times I had to save those dang kids? And most recently, I did a quest I like to call Sauce on Side, where we present to the materia guy not the best vending machine outcome, not the worst vending machine outcome, but to try and see if there even is a middle outcome. 47's too high, 6 is too low, maybe somewhere in between? But to try this again, you have to start a fresh new playthrough if your assess is too high. Luckily, I only had to replay from Chapter 4 twice. So back to the topic at hand. In Episode 5, I briefly show off the summon, Shiva. So naturally, I explain to the viewer that Shiva is given to us by Priscilla. But in my research, something stood out to me. On fandom, it states not once, but twice, that if your materia stock is full, she will instead leave the summon in her room for you to pick up later. Sure, that's fine. The game has a slight workaround for the extremely unlikely scenario that the player couldn't pick up more materia. But what intrigues me the most is that the guide explicitly states this, as if that could be a common occurrence. Junon's only the 4th stop after Midgar, and one of those is just a barn. They could have just said you get the Shiva materia after rescuing Priscilla, and everything would turn out fine. But they didn't, so I have to test this. First up, we locate the proper save just before Junon. I won't bother going inside. Next, we have to determine how much materia we have. It's a start. The maximum turns out to be 256, so we just gotta buy a bunch, right? Our only option is Fort Condor, as our Midgar path is blocked by a giant snake. I don't have a lot of gil, so I'll make things easier by selling everything I own. And I can sell any materia that will give me more than 600, since that's the lowest asking price. I put all my stock in fire, and still have some ways to go. There will be a lot of grinding from here on out, and I've distributed some decent materia. Now, I don't have to max any of these out, but a higher level is a higher profit. I'm using the Switch version, so luckily, I have super speed and unlimited limit breaks. Though I had to swap Aerith, as Healing Wind is just a speed bump. I run into Yuffie a few times, but she's not stealing any materia for me, so no use in joining her. After some time, I decide the outside world is not cutting it, so I head into the Mithril Mine to hopefully score more AP and more gil. The enemy encounters certainly feel more frequent. I find a perfect little perch for me to train on, where I can just run in circles without the risk of wandering off. Battle after battle after battle. I finally get my first materia level up. Good job, Red. Another level, this time for cover. And then, Barrett levels up his fire materia 4 times. Eventually, I head back to Fort Condor to check in on my progress, but I'm not nearly there yet. I clear my gil by hoarding lightning materia this time, and head back to the spot. Plenty more time passes, and I'm again heading back to Condor. I sell everything of value, and stock ice this time. $146. Wow. And when it stops, I still have a significant amount of gil, so that's a good sign. Well, that checks out. Onward to Junon. This took me about an hour and a half to complete, but then again, that's with the 3x speed, so in a normal PS1 playthrough, that'd be closer to 4.5 hours. But with 256 materia slots filled, there's no way Priscilla can give me any materia. But first, we have to save her life. And here's the moment of truth. Oh, so this text is different. She says nothing about her amulet like before. So the rest of this is pretty normal. Let's head in. And there it is, right on the bed, just like she told us. We even get this little message. And here we go, obtaining Shiva inside the house instead of outside. Now, obviously this is such a minor detail that it shouldn't really warrant anyone going out of their way to do this. But the funny thing is, you pretty much have to go out of your way if you want to see this. There's no practical way you'd see this in a normal run. But that's what makes it so intriguing to me. Final Fantasy VII has always been one of the most charming games I've ever played, with its wacky moments inside of a very serious plot, and all of the unique small details you come across as you play. So being able to explore these things many years after I first played the game, and to still be excited about the most mundane occurrences, is strangely beautiful to me. And that's why this comparison series has been such a blast. So if you're here watching this video, you probably love FF7 as well. So I recommend watching one of the comparisons. And if you want to see me doing way more tedious things in a game, check out this Mineral Town video. Anyway, thanks for sticking around, and I hope to see you in the next video.